Hi, my name is Dan and I'm one of the DT evangelists here at Digital Tutors. In this video, we're going to look at a question from one of our users, Sazaret, on how we can get a better level of control over how we move our objects. So to illustrate this, I have a simple object in my scene. Now when we select our object and come into our Translate tool, we can always control the axis that this moves in by simply selecting one of the axes. So we can move it only in Y. We can move it in X, or we can move it here in Z. Or if we notice here in the center, when we select it, there's actually this little box in the center, and if we select that, we can move it in all three axes. So we can move, see I'm moving it around in X, Y, and Z. Now when we have our Translate tool active, if we notice down here in the help line, it's telling us that if we hold down Control and left mouse button click, it's going to give us the ability to move this object perpendicular. So basically it's going to move it in only two axes. Now how can we select the two axes that we want to move it in at a time? Well, we can't really select two axes at once. So what we want to do is to actually hold down Control and then select the axes that we don't want it to move in. So for example, if I wanted to only move it in Y and Z, then I would hold down Control and left mouse button click on the X axis, and now we can see it's going to only move in Y and Z. And the same holds true if I were to hold down hold down Control and select my Y axis. It's only going to move in X and Z. Now, even though we can use this method to constrain our movements to two axes, in my project I find a lot of times I actually prefer to hop into an orthographic view just to make sure that I'm only moving my objects in the axes that I want. So to illustrate this, we can hop into something like a 4 view here. So now we can see I have my perspective view, my top, my front, and my side cameras. So if I were to come in and move this around, I don't have to hold down any hotkeys. I can just select in the center here and move it around in the top view. We can see in my perspective view that it's only actually moving in the Z and X axes. And the same holds true if I were to come into my front view here. I can select the center box and move it around. It's only going to move in the Y and X axes. And so on, same with the side view here, moving in the Z and Y. So that's a quick look at how we can constrain our Translate tool to only really move two axes at a time. Now if you want to learn some more about how to move around within Maya, I'd recommend checking out the Introduction to Maya 2011 course.